Hi, I wasn't planning on making a video this soon after my last one, but I got into a debate with a climate activist on my last video on climate change and what's wrong with EVs. Now, the first thing they're doing is pretty much, ow, midnight stop. Sorry, midnight's getting me there. They weren't upset I made the video. They were upset I brought up the fact that they did not agree with. Now, mind you, they did not say that I was false in any way, but that I brought up the fact that a lot of stuff that goes into electric cars and things like that, into the batteries, are due to child labor and human rights violations. They did not care about that one bit. Sorry, Midnight's playing with the light. Their problem was that I brought it up, not that it actually happens. I have a huge issue with that. Now, I do not have a problem with electric cars. Electric cars have been around a whole lot longer than people think they have. There were electric cars in the 70s, and they just didn't do well. Now, I want to talk about this because I have been trying to get this activist who says no matter what, we are all going to end up driving EVs, and they basically don't care about the human rights violations. We shouldn't talk about it, things like that. I'm going to talk about the dark side of renewables. Every single type. Now, every type of renewable energy has a dark side to it. My solar panels. Now, we all know how labor is in China. We know about human rights violations in China. And probably about 80 to 85% of all solar equipment comes from China. Now, while I did buy mine from a seller in the States, there's a good chance it came from China. So, human rights violations. How they're made. Alright, let's go over that. I've gone over this in another video. When solar panels eventually break down and become useless, the chemicals in the solar panel can leak out and get into groundwater, which can contaminate your groundwater. Another thing about solar panels is, and I've actually shown this in some of my earlier videos with my solar system, if you look under the solar panel, now I have mine literally 3 feet off the ground at the lowest point, from the bottom of the panel to the ground, okay? The grass does not want to grow there. What grass does grow there turns brown because the solar panels are producing heat in that area, killing the grass. So that's another dark thing about solar. The chemicals can leach. The solar panels themselves can destroy grass and vegetation. Alright, let's go into wind. Whether you have a small wind turbine or one of the really big ones, let's talk about that. The big ones, when they go out, they can literally throw their blades. Literally throw them like a baseball. And hurt someone. Now, I don't know if that's ever happened. I don't think it has, but it's possible. Then you have the disposing of the blades. I think there is only one place in the entire world that takes these blades and grinds them down to try to do something else with them. What normally happens is these big wind turbines get tore down and thrown into a landfill when they're not useful anymore. So, is that helping our climate and our planet? Absolutely not. Now let's talk about hydro. A lot of activists are trying to get hydro shut down because they say it can interfere with the certain species of fish. So, even if we kept hydro, wind, and solar, that does not produce enough power to run this country, let alone run this country if everybody's forced to buy an electric car. And then, of course, there's all the human rights violations that are put on children and people in other countries. Like I said, they did not have a problem with anything except for the fact is I brought up the human rights violations and the child labor. That's what they had the problem with. They didn't care about anything else I said. That was it. Because I brought that up. Now, if you want to see us debating, look in the comments of my last video. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't have everything in order, so it may or may not make sense. But I asked this person several times, what's the solution? If you're wanting to get rid of all fossil fuels and things like that, and go, all electric to where it's all renewable, what's the solution? If you're wanting to get rid of all oil and get rid of all cars that use oil, what's the solution? How do we produce the extra power needed to charge all these EV cars and keep them on the road? How do we power the big machinery that it takes to dig up the earth to get these materials needed to build cars and build these batteries? Most of these big machines run off of diesel. Now, your best electric car has what, a 300-mile range on a full charge? Can you imagine a dump truck with 6-foot tires or bigger trying to run that on batteries? How long would that last? Not very long. How about the digging equipment used to dig this stuff up? Not very long. And if people in America alone were forced to buy EV cars, that would be like a 500% increase of everything that's needed for the batteries. Where are we going to get this from? And what do you do with your EV car when the battery goes out? They don't have a plan for that either. Which means all that shit is going to sit in a landfill and it'll leak into the ground. Of course, you're talking about saving the planet. How is destroying the planet saving it? You will have to strip mine, literally, big chunks of the earth to get these materials. You have no way to dispose of the end results, more or less, of renewables such as windmills, big wind power generators, or solar panels, electric car batteries, even the power walls. How are you going to dispose of those? They have no plans. I really hate hypocrites. I hate Hollywood hypocrites. I hate climate activist hypocrites. How many of these people have solar panels? How many of these people are living off the grid? Zero. None. Think about it. When the Oscars just happened. Now these are Hollywood elites that I don't listen to anyway, but a lot of people do. Hollywood elites getting there on planes. Oh gee, that's real good for the environment. And a lot of them show up in these big ass limousines that is gas powered. Wow, that's good for the environment, isn't it? But these same Hollywood elites want to tell you to give up your air conditioner, give up your cars. Your life is going to suck, but they're millionaires and famous, so they don't have to follow the same rules as you. I hope the person, I don't know if it's male, female, other, I don't give a damn, They are 100% a climate activist. I hope they come to this video, see this. And if you want to know who they are, go to my last video and look in the comments. Because if I say their name here, they will probably have this video bumped. So, the dark side of everything has a dark side to it. Renewable energy has a dark side to it. Battery operated electric cars have a dark side to them. See, I'm 53 years old, and here's why I don't listen to these climate idiot activists. In my lifetime alone, just since I was little, I have heard, let's see, we're destroying the ozone layer, and the sun is going to roast the earth in a matter of years. Never happened. Let's see, we are putting so much stuff in the atmosphere that the sun is going to amplify and melt the polar ice caps and flood the planet. Never happened. Then I've heard we're putting so much stuff in the atmosphere that the sun's rays are going to reflect off the atmosphere and create another ice age. Well, that never happened either. All these activists are getting rich. And every time something doesn't happen, they change the wording. Now we're getting to climate change. Alright, the climate does change. The climate changes every single day. When you walk out your door and it starts raining, the climate just changed. I mean, seriously. They're using these words as scare tactics to try to force you and me into doing what they say. And 99% of these people are getting rich. I brought up that Greta Thunberg, whatever the hell her name is before. This is the how dare you girl. She didn't have an EV. So what happened? Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger bought an EV and had it shipped to her on a big ass boat that uses fossil fuels. She didn't have solar panels anywhere around, but she wants to tell you how to live. She's made millions of dollars going, how dare you? Now, a lot of scientists agree with climate change because they get funding. But a lot of them don't agree that mankind, us, has had anything to do with it. In fact, there are climatologists and people that have dug into the past and researched this stuff, dug up rocks, and they found out that there are numerous times before man ever walked this planet that the climate was way worse than it is now. But no, it's our fault. We weren't around. So what, did the dinosaurs have a subway system? The ice ages. Was it our fault there was an ice age? No. But climate activists seem to forget about a couple things. You know, pure facts. They don't like facts. Now let's talk about scientists, and let's talk about what they're talking about. Okay, even if I agreed with any of them, which I don't, because they just want more money, but let's say a scientist says people are the problem. Alright, what's the solution? If people are the problem, that means it's a population problem. What's your solution, eco-people? What's your solution, activist? If it has to do with people, and that would have to do with overpopulation, what is your solution? Should we kill everyone over 30? Well, that wouldn't be me. Should we kill everyone with a disability? Should we kill everyone that's, had something wrong with them at birth? Or should we kill people that are on welfare because they don't contribute to anything? How would you go about deciding for your perfect utopia of cleaning up the environment, so you say, how would you decide who lives and dies? The one question I have asked numerous activists and people pushing EV cars, how do we get the power to charge these EV cars? None of them come up with a solution. None. And if I bring up the only way we're going to do this is nuclear, oh, they freak. Like I said, I wasn't planning on making a video. At least not this soon. But when someone says, well, I watched it until the child labor part, and I don't agree with you on that, because you should not be showing it. People should not know this. I have a problem with that activist. You know, we got into the whole cobalt thing, and I talked about cobalt, lithium, and I brought up the fact that cobalt is used in a lot of things. Drill bits, some cheap tools, most of those are from China, but it's used in a lot of things. And to get that cobalt, a lot of times it's human rights violations occur. They didn't like that. Then they tried to change the subject to the oil companies using cobalt. I'm sure they have for the drill bits, but a lot of times they actually find that crap when they're drilling. So what's the solution? What do we do? If the earth is overpopulated, causing climate change, getting rid of cars is not going to help. What are you going to do? Limit people on their electricity during winter? During summer? So people will freeze to death? Or people will get heat stroke and die? The weak ones? It's like these people don't care about anything other than their agenda. That's it. They don't care if they're suffering. They don't care if there's child labor or even slave labor. They don't give a damn as long as they get what they want. And the fact is, none of these fucking people have come up with any solutions. All they're doing is coming up with different types of problems that they see fit. The earth's going to burn to a crisp. We're going to have an ice age. The earth is going to flood. None of this shit happened. And all this is in my lifetime that they have said this. Do I have a problem with electric cars? No. I have a problem with the way the materials, a lot of these materials are gathered in certain countries. Do I have a problem with oil? No. The United States is one of the most regulated when it comes to oil. Do I have a problem with coal? No. We have some of the cleanest burning coal because our regulations. When an activist is that stupid that they're saying everybody's going to have EV cars, everyone will, you'll see, we will make sure of that, bullshit like that, and all you do is ask them a simple question is, where are we going to get the power for this? They have no answer. Like I said, feel free to go to my last video on the EV cars, or EVs, and read through the comments, and you'll see who I'm talking about. They know who they are. So, let me ask you one more time, because I asked you several times, and you came up with no solutions. All you came up with was Well, people are going to end up driving EVs. Doesn't matter pretty much how they're made, how materials are gathered, you know, they will do it. To the damn stupid activist, one more time, where is the power going to come from to charge these EVs? Let's see if they can answer that question. I doubt very seriously they can. Because here's the thing, when they're in school, they're taught what to think, not how to think. Alright, that's it. I'm fixing to go. If I missed something, I apologize. I'm sure I missed plenty of stuff. But if you're an activist pushing all this electric stuff, come up with some solutions or shut the hell up. Alright, that's it. Everyone have a good one. I'm out of here. Bye.